So this week is actually episode number 12, and I'm going to be sharing some thoughts on making marketing planning really simple and kind of nice and easy. And so the reason I wanted to talk about this was something that, for those that don't know, I've spent the past 7 years actually doing marketing and web design work, and I know firsthand that it's not always easy delivering regular online and offline marketing. It's often that case where you go through kind of up and down periods where when you're quiet you kind of go, right, I've got to go do marketing, do lots of marketing, kind of get all that sorted. Then when you get busy, it kind of all gets pushed to the bottom of the to-do list, and it can just turn into this yo-yo spiral of kind of all in on marketing and then kind of closing it down when you get busy and things like that. And that makes it a lot of effort to kind of build momentum and to just kind of keep that marketing machine going. So what I wanted to talk about today was the fact that how to kind of change that process and make your marketing planning as simple as possible. And the reason I want to talk about it today is because the past 6 months I've kind of stumbled my way onto a system that just seems to work quite effectively. As I say, I've personally experienced that kind of all out, right, I need to do lots of marketing, and then suddenly I've got no time to do marketing. And this process seems to have kind of allowed me to keep that marketing going for about 5 months now. And it's something that I'm regularly delivering blog posts, social media, newsletters, attending networking, all the things that I know I need to be doing in my business. And what you'll get out of this episode is that you'll be able to do basically the same. You'll be able to have a plan and kind of create that content, create all the kind of marketing that you need to be doing, and really planning in advance, which makes it a lot easier. So what I want to do today is just to share that process with you and share some tips, what I've learned over the past 6 months, but also what I've learned previously in helping other clients as well. So the thing that's really changed for me this year is that I've created a marketing calendar, and anyone who wants access to this calendar can get this calendar via the description. So I've included a link in the description of this video. So you can get access to this calendar. It's obviously not my current one, but it's an older version, and I'm always updating it so that people can see what I've been doing, kind of how I've been doing it, so that you can see what I've actually been doing and how I've been doing my planning. And so this calendar is very simple. It's just a Google sheet, and it just has various rows and various columns, which just allow me to have a big picture view of what's going on in my business, but also in my marketing. So the first thing that I do, and the first thing that if you want to kind of create a real marketing plan that's nice and simple, is to download that calendar and then to just look at all the dates and put in all those dates of when you're launching a product, or when you're wanting to promote a service, or when you're releasing a course, or just networking events you want to attend to, or maybe if you're the summer holidays are a really busy time for you, so kind of put that into the calendar and kind of just put all the key dates, whether it's kind of relating to you or just a general date that is important to your business. And you can start to build a picture of what's going on in your business and when. And so then from that, you can then start to get an idea of all the columns, because then next to that, you've then got newsletters, social media, offline networking, offline other marketing events, and list all the various different things that you want to be doing in terms of your marketing. So then what you can start to do is you can then go through and say, right, I've got a workshop next month, and I'm in this exact situation at the moment. I've got a workshop next month. How am I going to fill it up? How am I actually going to do my marketing for this particular event? So then you can then start to brainstorm ideas and say, well, I'll definitely do a couple of Facebook Lives. I'll send out two newsletters to all of the relevant subscribers on my list. I'll make sure I do lots of Facebook, lots of Twitter, do lots of Instagram, and kind of get an idea of all the marketing that you're going to be doing. And you can just start to then fill in all the blanks. And what's great about this is that you can do that for all of your services, all of your products, and start to build up a real big picture of throughout the year what you want to be focusing on and what you want to be creating. And what you'll find that once you start filling this out, you'll then start getting an idea of, right, okay, well that's what I'm creating then, and that's what I'm creating then. And you can then start to really plan and get ahead of creating all of this marketing work. So rather than kind of at the last minute going, oh, I need to write a newsletter, or I need to write a blog post, or I need to plan for a Facebook Live, what should I say? You can have it all scheduled in advance. And so the process that I would go through, once I've got that calendar and once I've kind of brainstormed all those ideas, again, using all of my previous experience and all the previous experience that you get from delivering a blog post, delivering Facebook Live, putting social media content out there, writing newsletters, figure out what you think will work best for each situation, and then start to tailor it for the particular launch product or service that you're trying to actually market. And so then at that point, you can then start to go to, what I do is I then go to Evernote. So I will then go to Evernote and create a new note and just start to list all of the things that I know I need to create. And so that could be from things like blog posts, newsletters, social media content, Facebook Live, kind of outlines, and just create a list of all the things that you need to create. And then I will then start to draft all of that in Evernote. And I'll draft it all in batches rather than kind of trying to do it one at a time. I'll try and draft it all together. And then what I will then do, once I've got the draft content together, I'll make sure that it's all relevant, make sure that it still works within my plan. I'll then start to schedule, and well, first of all, I'll go and actually add the various things to Hootsuite or to my WordPress website, or just keep it as a note for a Facebook Live. But I'll go through and add it to the various platforms where I can schedule it, making sure that I'm going through the process of editing and making sure that it's the best content that it can be. And then just scheduling it. And then it's a case of getting into that system of making sure that you're planning, brainstorming, drafting, and scheduling well in advance. So at the moment it's 22nd of June. Now I'm actually nearly finished drafting all of my content in terms of blog posts and social media for July and August, because I want to be well in advance of what's actually going out in those periods. And there's still opportunities within all of that content and marketing for ad hoc things, but it's the case that the bulk of it is all created. And that's what I've really found has been the difference. When you start to create that big picture plan, which you can do via the calendar in the link of the description of this video, you have a bigger picture of what's going on, you know what you need to be promoting, you know what marketing you need to be doing. You can then create it in advance and bulk create it, which again is a lot easier, time saving, and it allows you to kind of dedicate half a day to kind of content creation and then know that you kind of got that dedicated time for it. Rather than this case of, oh, I'll try to fit in a newsletter there or fit in the blog post there, which is very hard, and it's easy just to go, oh, well, I just won't do one this particular week. So once you've been through that whole process of kind of creating that marketing calendar, brainstorming the ideas, drafting out all the content, putting the content into your newsletter providers, WordPress, Hootsuite, wherever you're actually putting it, and then scheduling it, you can then sit back and then do the various things that you have to do live. So things like Facebook Live, networking, but they're all the things that you can do within your actual calendar that just have to be live. And what I generally do is I mark, once I've gone through and actually scheduled everything, I'll mark everything green for once it's scheduled. So then again, rather than just having a calendar and wondering what you need to create, I have a very visual calendar where things are green when they've been scheduled and edited and they're ready to go, and they're red for when they actually need to be created. And then there are things that are blue. So the things that are blue are things that have to be done live. So again, it's a case of, for like today's Facebook Live, this was drafted out last week and then edited this morning. And all I've got is a bullet point list of points that I want to go over. But it's making sure that you have all of that in advance so that you're not rushing at the last minute, or actually because you feel rushed, you just decide, oh, I'll give this week a miss. And that's why, touch wood, I've been able to do 12 Facebook Lives every single Thursday for the past 12 weeks. And hopefully I'll be able to keep it going for a lot longer. And that's the idea, that everything's planned in advance, everything's kind of thought out and structured based on what you're actually wanting to promote at the time. And that's what that's where it's been made really simple for me, and that's what's changed, because as soon as you start planning in advance, you know that I've got that launch, or I want to be promoting that product because it's the start of the school year in September, so I want to be doing this and this then. You make the most of those opportunities that arise, that you see other people doing a blog post about something really cool, and you go, oh, I had that idea, but I just didn't have the time, or I didn't get ahead of my work, so I didn't have the time to do it, and I'm really disappointed I wasn't able to make the most of that particular kind of one-off opportunity. And it's having that structure really changed things for me, and you'll be able to see if you look at all of my social media marketing, it's actually going to be changing quite a bit from next week onwards. I'm going to be doing a lot more things around virtual mentoring in terms of my social platforms. But you'll see regular newsletters, regular social media content, regular Facebook Lives, lots of new blog posts, lots of new content on YouTube, lots and lots of stuff. And it seems like it's actually a lot more than it is, but it's just because it's all created in advance, well thought out and well structured, in line with what I'm trying to market or sell, or what I'm trying to achieve. So that's the way that I've changed and been able to kind of really take control of my marketing and made it as simple as possible to be able to deliver it regularly. And I've just got some final pointers which I've got written down here from my draft that I wrote about a week ago. So the first thing was always to make sure that you've got your goals in mind. So rather than just kind of ad hoc doing I'll do some marketing, I'll do a newsletter, make sure that you've always got your goals in mind, whether that's launching a product or, right, August and September, I really want to have a big push on this particular service, but always make sure that you have particular goals for your marketing, because as soon as you do that, it becomes a lot more strategic and in line with what you're trying to achieve. And you'll see, rather than just going, oh, I'll do a newsletter or I'll do some social media because I know I should be, it's much more strategic in line with your goals. So it's definitely going to help you a lot more. The second tip is to make sure that you have enough time. So as you start doing your marketing, make sure to keep a note of how much time it takes to brainstorm the ideas, to create a blog post, to create a video, to draft out a Facebook Live script, and really just get an idea of how much time it takes to deliver all of that content and to create all of it. Because what you don't want to be doing is setting yourself up for failure. A lot of people will struggle because they want to do a lot, but they just don't know how much time it's going to take, and then it actually takes a lot more time than they're expecting, so they don't actually have the time to be able to do it all. So make sure that as you start going through that process of creating the plans and developing everything, just keep an eye out for how much time it takes. I did this just actually yesterday, so I wanted to know how much time it would take to create and schedule 1 week's worth of social media content. And I figured out that it was just over 4 hours. So I now have a clear idea that I need 4 solid hours to be able to schedule 1 week's worth of social media content. So that's great. I now know what I need to be doing, and that then allows me to make sure that I have enough time to be able to do that week in, week out, which is the key. And that's the key. It's doing it regularly rather than doing this sporadic on-off approach. The third tip, I've already mentioned it a couple of times, is to create in batches. So if you can create your content, do your brainstorming, scheduling in batches, you'll save a lot of time. The fourth tip is don't be afraid to scrap a post or a newsletter, even if you drafted it out. If you don't think that it's good enough, or actually it's not as relevant as you thought, or maybe you just drafted it out thinking it was good but didn't really think it through on that particular occasion, don't feel that you have to keep going with it. Scrap it, start again, and put something much better out. And then the fifth and final tip is to just get consistent and to learn. So the first time you do a blog post, the first time you do a Facebook Live, the first time you just do your marketing planning, the first time if you download that calendar that I mentioned, the first time you do it, you'll be a bit all over the place, but you'll get better and better and better. And the key is to stay consistent with it. Deliver. If you can do a weekly blog post, do a weekly blog post. If you can only do a weekly Facebook Live, do a weekly Facebook Live. But whatever it is, make sure that it's consistent, and then just learn. Learn in terms of how you deliver it, how you actually make it work for your business, how you get the most out of it, and just constantly make sure that you're learning, because each time that you do it, like with these Facebook Lives, I'm on my 12th one. My 12th one, this one is definitely a lot better than my first, second or third one. So just learn from them, and every time that you put out a piece of marketing, learn in terms of, did that work, did that not work, why didn't it work, was it the right time, wrong time, how could it be better? And then in time you'll get better and better and see more results from your marketing, whether that's online or offline. So that's my thoughts on making marketing planning simple. Apologies, as per usual, I've gone a little bit over my 10-minute time, but hopefully you found it really useful. If you do have any questions about my marketing calendar or just marketing planning in general, please do feel free to put some comments below this video. I'd love to help you out. And for now, I will say goodbye. I hope to see you in the group. So if you're not a member of the Facebook group already, you can go to my website, paulbassi.com, and join the Facebook group. It's a place where small business owners are advising, supporting, and inspiring one another to business success. And for now, I'll leave you there. My name's Paul Bassi. I'm your virtual mentor, and I hope to see you in the group soon.